This is supposed to be a joyous day when our kids walk the stage and get their diploma.
Incredibly tragic that someone decided to bring a gun to this incident and rain terror on our community.
I'm tired of seeing people get shot.
Is nothing sacred any longer? Is nothing sacred any longer?
We've arrived in a place where this world is upside down.
When do we say enough is enough? When do we say that? How many more people have to die?
Our kids can't take it, our teachers can't take it, our families can't take it anymore. I beg of you to stop.
It is a story making headlines across the country tonight. 2 people killed, 10 wounded after a shooting outside of a high school graduation ceremony in Richmond. Good evening, I'm Julie Bragg.
And I'm Bill Fitzgerald. We have complete coverage tonight. We have the latest details from police, and we'll tell you how local and state leaders are responding in the wake of this tragedy. We start tonight with Crime Insider John Burkett, who's been on scene all evening talking to his exclusive sources. John?
Well, Bill, Acting Police Chief Rick Edwards telling us tonight that the detectives believe the 19-year-old suspect in Graduate who was shot to death outside the Altria Theater this afternoon did know each other. Here's video of a man's car being towed for evidence. That man was detained and questioned about the shooting, but Acting Chief Edwards telling us at a 9 p.m. news conference they do not believe the man that drove that car was involved. He was released. My Crime Insider sources telling me the 18-year-old victim was also related to the 36-year-old man shot and killed and may even have ties to the 9-year-old girl that police say was hit by a car outside the theater in the chaos to escape the shots being fired. In all, 12 people injured, 7 by gunfire, 2 of those dead. Right now, the lone suspect has been charged, according to the acting chief, with 2 counts of murder, and other charges are pending. RPD Major Crimes in the early stages of the investigation. Of course, the campus, the VCU campus, has a large number of surveillance cameras. My sources telling me detectives will be reviewing evidence, especially from that corner of Laurel and Main Street, right outside the Altria Theater. That is where the incident took place, and that is where my colleague Maggie Marshall picks up coverage. She has been there outside the theater this afternoon.
Yeah, John, we really heard from Richmond Police Chief Rick Edwards just a little while ago, and he said this is a day that they have been planning for, but a day that they prayed would never come. He really, in that press conference, gave us some insight into the impact of those people directly impacted by the shooting. In total, he says that 7 total people were shot. Their ages ranged from 14 to 58. Of those 7, 2 people have died. They say 1 person is in life-threatening condition and the other 4 have non-life-threatening injuries. Now, officials say that a Huguenot High School graduate and a 36-year-old man are the 2 people that lost their life. In the chaos, they also say a 9-year-old was struck by a car and is in non-life-threatening condition tonight. Now, Chief Edwards says this has been a very traumatic day for everyone involved in this incident, and the city as a whole is impacted by an event like this.
This should have been a safe space. People should have felt safe at a graduation. It's disgusting and cowardly behavior because even if you're discharging a firearm at a person you're trying to hit, when you have a crowd like this, innocent people are going to be caught up in the mayhem, and that's what happened today.
And police have reopened Monroe Park here. It was blocked off for roughly 5 hours as they completed their investigation following this shooting. I'm told that the police chief and the mayor plan to have a press conference to give more details tomorrow.
All right, Maggie, thank you so much for your part of our coverage. Hundreds of people were in attendance at Huguenot's graduation, and the shooting caused many to run for cover. Our Elizabeth Holmes explains what witnesses say they saw and heard in the moments leading up to the shooting. Elizabeth?
We spoke with several witnesses, and they all said they are shaken by what they experienced. But one story that we heard today really highlights just how tragic today was. This was supposed to be an exciting day. We talked to a woman named Naomi Wade. She was out here in front of the Altria Theater selling flowers, selling gifts, teddy bears with her mother for the graduates of Huguenot High School. And she said before the graduation, people were coming up buying those gifts. They were smiling. They were excited to see these graduates cross the stage. Shortly after the graduation, she said people were outside. Some of them had balloons, again, smiling, having a great time. And then she heard at least 20 shots ring out. She said people started screaming and running for their life. They ran toward her tent where she was at. She said that she crowded over her mother to make sure that she would not be trampled. She said both of them were fearing for their life. Now, we also heard from someone who had their vehicle struck by a stray bullet and someone who said they may know one of the victims. Take a listen.
Yes, everyone literally started running for their lives, trampling each other, trampled me, trampled our whole entire stand, everything, all of our stuff was broken. Everyone was fleeing, scared.
I had to go find the car first, and my husband told me it was hit.
I come to find out that my nephew's friend's father was one of the victims. So it's just definitely shaking everyone up.
Definitely shaking everyone up. Absolutely devastating. And as my colleagues John Burkett and Maggie Marshall said, a 9-year-old was hit by a car in that chaos. They were treated on the scene and then transferred to a hospital. And a lot of witnesses said that they heard people screaming, crying here on the ground, having panic attacks. Definitely a tragic end to a day that was supposed to be happy. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Elizabeth. Several Richmond public school leaders were actually at that graduation ceremony when the shots rang out. Our Leland Pinder joins us live now with what they are saying tonight. Leland?
Yeah, well, Bill, as Elizabeth just said, what should have been a really happy day, one of the best and most exciting moments of these students' lives so far, marred by gun violence and really just turned upside down. As far as the school division goes, we can tell you, out of an abundance of caution, all RPS schools will be closed tomorrow, and all remaining graduations with RPS have been canceled this week and will be rescheduled for next week. More details will be forthcoming, according to the district. Now, city leaders joined multiple school board members here for a press briefing earlier in the day. One board member, Kenya Gibson, issued a statement saying, among other things, that she is devastated and what happened today is unfathomable. I also talked to school board member Jonathan Young, who was actually here when the shots rang out. He called what happened today disgusting. We also heard from the superintendent, Jason Camrus.
We're failing as leaders. I don't know any other way to say it. When we continue to tolerate the intolerable, we are failing. And it really is offensive to me. It disgusts me to my core.
I don't have any more words on this. I'm tired of seeing people get shot, our kids get shot, and I beg of the entire community to stop, to just stop. Our kids can't take it, our teachers can't take it, our families can't take it anymore.
And of course, officers from several agencies were here on the scene throughout the day. But at this point, if you take a look around, you can see their presence is no longer here at the scene. And Monroe Park has been reopened. All of that crime scene tape has been taken down. Live in Richmond, Leland Pinder, CBS 6 News.
Thank you so much, Leland. And Richmond activists are coming together to support those impacted by this tragedy. Our Joy Foltz spent hours at VCU Medical Center as victims were taken there, and she joins us live from the hospital with what she's heard. Joy?
Julie, just a truly heartbreaking scene. Words can't even begin to describe the shattering feelings and sounds coming from family and friends of the victims showing up to the hospital to check the condition of their loved ones. Now, we first arrived at the hospital around 5:40 p.m. We saw several ambulances leave. We saw multiple medical staff run towards the emergency entrance where VCU police were coordinating ambulances. Off camera, we spoke with a staff member in the building who said they received several alerts about the shooting, with the first one sent out at 5:16 p.m., alerting them there was a shooting and to stay away from the Monroe Park campus. That was followed up with several other texts, with the last one at 5:49 p.m. saying there was a heavy police activity in the area of the Altria Theater, but normal activity could resume at MCV. Now, later in the evening, we spoke with community activist Charles Willis, who arrived to the hospital as the homicide victim's advocate. He told us he knows there are no words he could say in this moment that would truly comfort the family of someone who found out their loved one was hurt or killed at what was supposed to be a happy occasion. Now, he said it is time community organizations, nonprofits, and leaders come together and, quote, take back our city.
We know that if you see something, say something. We also know that boots need to be on the ground to assist and help. But most of all, we know this is a time where the community need to realize that we have to prepare for war in a time of peace. It is wartime. The only difference is the battle is not ours, it's the Lord's. So we need to equip ourselves with the knowledge of knowing that things like this will happen, can happen, and as we've seen today, shall happen.
Again, just absolutely heartbreaking here at the hospital. Earlier, we were outside of the critical care unit, and you could hear and see the family and friends of victims crying and screaming. I even saw what seemed like the mother of one of the victims collapse to the ground, screaming, "They killed my son." Just absolutely heart-wrenching. And again, words can't even begin to describe the heartbreak that today's incidents have caused. As we continue to get more information, we will keep you updated. In Richmond, I'm Joy Foltz for CBS 6 News.
Thank you, Joy. Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears was also on the scene today. She said she drove to Richmond from Winchester after hearing about the shooting. She said the people she represents are not safe in the city of Richmond and that gangs are a problem in the community. Although the chief said today he did not think the events today were gang related. She said harsher punishments are needed to keep criminals off the streets.
When do we say enough is enough? When do we say that? How many more people have to die before we say, you're going to jail? We're going to lock you up, and there's not going to be any bail.
Sears also called on city and state leaders to hold people accountable for the crimes they commit.
And Governor Glenn Youngkin also issued a statement on Twitter following this afternoon's shooting. It reads, quote, "My administration continues monitoring the terrible shooting in the heart of Richmond tonight. State law enforcement are fully supporting the Richmond Police Department as this investigation moves forward." In another statement about an hour ago, he said, quote, "As we struggle to fully comprehend this tragedy, our hearts break for those whose lives were lost today. Tonight, we grieve together for their classmates, our neighbors, and the whole Richmond community." The story will continue to develop over the next several hours and days. You can get the latest as we learn more by visiting our website, WTVR.com, and by downloading our free CBS 6 News app.
And we'll continue our coverage of this breaking story next. John Burkett will join us again with another live report, and we have details on one organization that is sending aid to help victims. We continue to follow breaking news out of Richmond. 2 people killed, 10 others injured after a shooting outside a high school graduation ceremony in the heart of Richmond.
Our crime insider John Burkett has been on the scene all evening and joins us now with the latest. John.
And Julie, before I recap what happened this afternoon, let me tell you, just about 20 minutes prior to 11 p.m. broadcast, more shots ringing out in the city's east end, about 2 miles from where I'm standing at Mosby and Fairmount. My crime insider source is telling me 2 juveniles hit there. An hour before that, over on R Street, another juvenile shot in the torso. They're all believed to be non-life-threatening injuries, but that's more tragic and sad news to pass along on top of what happened outside the Altria Theater at 5:15 this afternoon, where my Crime Insider sources tell me a man opened fire on a graduate and a family member, and then others were hurt in the process. Chief of Police Rick Edwards, acting Chief of Police, telling us tonight a 19-year-old suspect is in custody. He has been charged so far with 2 counts of murder. More charges are pending. And again, we've got 2 deceased victims. One is a graduate from Huguenot High School. They were graduating 2023 class here at the Altria Theater this afternoon. I'm told a family member of his is also another victim, and he may be related to the 9-year-old girl that was hit by a car in the chaos. She suffered non-life-threatening injuries, but she was injured as well, along with 5 other people that were shot in the process, and at least 4 others that were injured running back into the Altria Theater. A lot for RPD major crimes detective to sort out here. They're going to rely heavily, I'm told by sources, on video evidence, and they're asking folks out there, if you live in the area, if perhaps VCU students were in their dorm rooms, I know it's summer break and some of them have gone home already, but if they have video, to please contact RPD and give them that video so they can work things out and try and finalize this investigation, which certainly will be a lengthy investigation on RPD's part.
And John, have your sources shed any light on the possible connection between the suspect and the 18-year-old graduate victim, or perhaps when we'll learn the name of the 19-year-old who presumably has been charged and thus his name should be public?
They are still working on getting us that. My sources telling me, obviously, it's been a busy night from what I've told you for their major crimes folks to get information out there because they're going from one thing to the next. Acting Chief Rick Edwards did tell us they do believe the 19-year-old suspect and this 18-year-old graduate did know each other. My sources telling me major crimes detectives are looking into some sort of retaliation. That may be what the motive is on this, but it's still early in their investigation.
All right, John, thank you for your work today on scene all day long since the incident erupted. The Uvalde Foundation has announced it is mobilizing a response team to send to Richmond because of this shooting. The foundation's national director, Daniel Chapin, releasing a statement tonight that says during a time meant for celebrating achievements and hopeful futures, gun violence yet again has made its horrible mark on yet another school community and more precious lives. Our foundation extends its prayers, and yet this is not enough. We'll continue to monitor the event and provide our support resources as needed. The Uvalde Foundation also says it has added additional staff, including mental health professionals and peer counselors, to its crisis response line. If you need to talk to someone in the wake of this tragedy, you can reach those folks at 888-685-8464. Zach?
Okay, a smoky, hazy day today. It's going to be worse in some areas tomorrow. A code orange air quality alert in effect. I'll talk about what to expect in our next good chance for rain when the News at 11 continues.
Now from CBS 6, the Weather Authority, Chief Meteorologist Zach Daniel.
Okay, a very hazy day today as wildfire smoke moved in out of eastern Canada. It began about 24 hours ago and continued throughout the day today. Let me show you how we did as far as temperatures go. The morning low was 56, the high 82 this afternoon, so coming in a little bit below normal for this time of the year. And outside right now, it's a pleasant 71 degrees, a westerly breeze at 6 miles per hour. Looking at other temperatures here, they're mostly in the 60s and very low 70s. Let's get a check now what we have through our Sky Tracker camera. You can see a little bit of that haze out there, and there's your code orange air quality alert for tomorrow. All counties in orange. If you do have breathing difficulties or anything that may limit your ability to breathe as you head outside tomorrow, heart ailments, you might want to just stay inside as much as you can for the day tomorrow. Upper 50s to around 60 for lows tonight, and highs tomorrow are going to make it into the upper 70s, so it can be a little bit milder than today. We'll have a low chance for a few sprinkles tomorrow morning, a little bit better chance for a shower as we get into the afternoon and evening hours tomorrow. So low chance tomorrow, then 80 degrees and a mostly dry day on Thursday. A little bit better chance for some showers around on Friday and some thunderstorms. will heat up this weekend with a few shower storms possible Sunday. Best chances coming up on Monday. More news at 11 straight ahead.
We are continuing to cover the shooting outside of a high school graduation ceremony taking place at the Altria Theater this evening. 12 people were injured, 7 shot, 2 died. The 2 men killed include an 18-year-old graduating student and a 36-year-old man attending the ceremony. Sources tell us they were related. A 31-year-old man remains hospitalized in life-threatening condition. Police have arrested 1 suspect in connection to the shooting, a 19-year-old man not believed to be a graduating student, but police do believe the suspect knew at least one of the victims. You can get the latest on this story as we learn more by visiting our website, WTVR.com, and by downloading our free CBS 6 News app.
We'll be back on the air at 4:30 tomorrow morning with continuing team coverage of this mass shooting. And we leave you now with a final look at how things unfolded on a day where triumph turned to tragedy in an instant. Breaking news out of Richmond this evening, a mass shooting outside a high school graduation.
We've seen a lot of people running from the Altria towards this direction in Monroe Park. Law enforcement with their guns drawn, running in opposite directions towards West Franklin Street.
I hear a lot of gunshots all the time, but not like those.
This is the biggest police presence I've seen in all of Richmond. Definitely a scary scene as well.
As far as police, Bill, it's just a citywide mayday, I'm told. So every officer that's uniform, out of uniform, and on duty, they are down here at this incident.
Thank God for our first responders. They were on the scene immediately.
Behind me, you can also see a VCU police officer who's been regulating the emergency entrance.
Tragically, 2 of our life-threatening victims have passed away.
It's just incredibly sad to be reporting something like this on what was supposed to be the happiest day of these teenagers' lives.
Disgust. Absolutely disgusted. Because we continue to tolerate the intolerable.
It's a selfish act, it's a senseless act, and to me it's cowardice.
There's nothing here on earth that can comfort you for a moment like this. When you lose a child, or when a child has been injured, or a child has been traumatized during the time of graduation.
This should have been a safe space. When you have a crowd like this, innocent people are going to be caught up in the mayhem.
I'm tired of seeing people get shot, our kids get shot, and I beg of the entire community to stop, to just stop.